Welcome back to the Caring Conversation studio. We are live at the NEC in Birmingham, and it's coming towards the end of the day.
What could possibly go wrong?
Our second from last guest. Well, milk.
The bottom of the barrel, the second to last guest. No.
It was certainly weird last time we did it. So,
Yeah.
it was certainly weird last time we did it. So
Yes,
hopefully,
we'll avoid.
hopefully it will be just as weird.
Just as weird.
this time.
I'm sure I can do that.
That's the plan.
Yeah.
So, Louie, how are you?
Good. Yeah, really enjoyed the show. Obviously, always enjoy the show, but it's been particularly good this year, this time, because I haven't got a slip disc causing me constant pain.
Oh, yeah, of course,
so it's
yeah.
nice to be fully upright, fully erect,
Yeah.
and here having a wonderful time.
So you heard it here first. He is fully erect.
It's what we all want.
You've just walked into it
I did,
immediately.
I did.
You've only just started.
Yeah,
Louie.
I know. It's good. This could be a not for broadcasting one.
Well, I mean, it's live, so.
Well,
Dear me. Right, well, can you
Moving
tell us
on.
who you are and what you do?
Yeah, so the main thing that we do at Care Research is we support services with feedback. Feedback is a massive part of the CQC framework. We've been doing loads of work doing feedback surveys for residents, families, staff, partners, and lots of training on the new framework. In particular, also, how to get your care staff ready. Because if you are working as a care worker and then you get a phone call on a Thursday night saying, hey, can you tell us about blah, blah, blah from a CQC inspector? That's a big ask. So we're doing a lot of work ensuring that care staff are confident to speak to CQC and doing the feedback collection for services too.
Perfect. Just a little tip. Nice and close.
Oh, sorry.
It's very,
Oh, there we
very
go.
sensitive.
There we go.
As you want to
Better.
hear yourself. If you can hear yourself, we can hear you.
Brilliant.
All good. Good answer, though.
Thank you. I'll try my
So
best.
let's talk about CQC then. Obviously,
Yes.
I read the apology letter that they wrote on their website recently. Where are you at with it?
So, right. So, I have always been of the view that CQC serve a purpose, they have value, the new framework has value. The challenge has always been getting the information out and actually acting on what they've done. There's a couple of key thinkings at the moment. One is to bin the whole framework, which I think is not a great idea. Another is to bin the entirety of CQC, kind of like, the trust is gone, we cannot work with these people, we need to start again. I understand that sentiment. I think it's not as easy as going, delete, let's start again. So I don't think that's going to be feasible. What I think we need to get to is a framework that is implementable. And that is actually, in my humble opinion, about staffing levels. CQC need an absolute glut of inspectors to actually carry out. We did some work as part of our presentation yesterday, and I think in the course of the last 4 months there have been about 195 home care agency reports published, right? Now there's 12,000 home care agencies. So the actual maths of it means that if we followed that same track record, it would take 20.8 years for every home care agency to be assessed. Clearly that is not manageable.
And that's new ones coming on board all the time. People are waiting 6, 12 months.
Exactly. Yeah. So I think what we're seeing here is wherever you are with the framework itself, CQC's body of people, their body of staff, that's really the difference between this being workable or not. As again, speaking to services today, they're an outstanding, which is thrilling, but they're outstanding 8 years ago. I mean, that's a long time. So I think we're seeing CQC's primary issue is actually about staff and recruitment, even though I know there's also issues around communications and making sure the framework works as effectively as possible too.
I mean, you might not know the answer to this question, but how long does it take a single inspector to do a single inspection?
Yeah, so this is also where it's got a bit more complicated with the new framework. So under the old framework, they rock up this 1 or 2 day mega experience and then off they go. That wasn't great because actually that's like mega performance day. It's a lot of pressure. It's not great for the inspectors. It's not great for staff. It's not great for everyone. What we have now is you'll still have an inspector visiting for maybe 1, sometimes 2 days, but they'll have remote staff. And the remote inspectors, still called inspectors, they will typically be collecting information for a couple of weeks. We've even had some services that have been still having information sent maybe a couple of months later. So it's a long process. I mean, the other kind of argument around all of this is, do we need to just go back to regulations? Do we just need to go, are you compliant with the regulation? Yes, no. My argument against that has been, if I'm choosing a home for my father, I don't want to see, are they basic level compliant? I want to know the quality. And I think if it's the Care Quality Commission rather than the Care Make Sure You're Doing the Regulations Commission.
Care Compliance Commission,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
I mean,
exactly.
Interestingly, from my perspective, it looks to me like a better system holistically, right?
Yes.
Because it actually looks at you as a business
Yeah.
and says, rather than saying, are you compliant with the X, Y, and Z, it says, are you a good company?
Certainly.
Do you look after your staff? Do you look after your customers?
Exactly. And I think the feedback focus is really valuable, because the last thing I want to know about when I'm picking a care home is what your Excel sheets say. What I want to know about is, how do your staff feel? How do the people receiving care feel? How do families feel? What do your partners, professional partners, GPs, etc., what do they say about it? I think that is the valuable information. And I think that's what we kind of want to make sure we are keeping with the new framework. Because as they make these changes, what I don't want to see is them moving back towards, let's just have a wander around, let's just have a look at the Excel sheets. We need to make sure that feedback, that human voice element is maintained.
So what can settings do?
Brilliant. So I think a couple of key things settings need to do. Number one, you need to make sure that you've got a focus on feedback. Obviously, you can work with us, Care Research, hello. Or
that one.
Hello, come and see me. School K52.
He's still erect.
Yeah. Or the other thing that you can do is make sure you've got your own feedback processes. We need to make sure that the voices of those receiving care, their families, their staff, are collected. Otherwise, it's all dependent on the 2 or 3 people they bump into that day, and that is a tricky business. Number 2, Care Provider Alliance. So NCF, those groups, the Care Provider Alliance, are doing a big bit of work basically getting the voices of care services to the new framework. They're doing a big review. If you want to be involved with that, if you want to have your thoughts on the framework heard, look up Care Provider Alliance Single Assessment Framework Review.
Yeah, they've got
really
a
important
feedback form out.
So important.
You can access it through the CQC's news page.
Exactly. Really important to get your voice heard. And third, keep an eye out. If you're not on LinkedIn, be on LinkedIn. If you're on LinkedIn, connect with myself and others. There's lots of people sharing information, sharing those updates, because there are going to be some tweaks. We already know that the scoring for each evidence category, that's gone in the bin. We know that the idea of legacy scores, this is, you were safe last time, so we'll make all your quality statements safe this time. That score, that's in the bin. We know that there are questions around who is doing what. They changed it from an assessor to an inspector, changed the name. We know that there's some new plans around how relationship management is going to work, so people have a closer relationship with their CQC inspector. All of this is currently almost agreed. They're just trying to work out the nuts and bolts. So just keep your ear to the ground, because there is more stuff coming. Unfortunately, CQC aren't always fantastic at getting the information out clearly. So, connect with people so that you've got an eye on all of that.
Yeah, get in there, and there'll be, I'd imagine, I do, for example, HMRC, I have a RSS news alert, right?
Right,
so
yes, exactly.
Sure, there'll be something
give
similar.
us your money.
Yeah. I want to know how much.
Yes, exactly. And what you got with CQC is they're sending out that information. To be fair, they do send really good emails, usually a couple of times a week. You've just got to kind of put the time aside to read through them and go through it, because there is some really good stuff in there. So just make sure you're plugged in, because between now and Christmas, there'll be a few little changes. I wouldn't be surprised if January, February, March, up to the work year of April, that'll be when they do some more rolling out. So just really keep an eye on what's coming around the corner.
Ultimately, they need 1,000 new inspectors.
I think so.
Yeah.
Whether they're going to, what I've been told from former inspectors, they need to re-recruit the ones that they lost, because as they did the rollout, there was a big change in the way that inspectors were working and what their roles were and their responsibilities, and that led to a bit of a drought of inspectors. So I think part of it is also re-engaging some of those inspectors that maybe weren't happy with the initial version of the new way. We're talking a year and a half when it was first being discussed. So I think there's some work to re-get the ones that kind of left recently as well.
I can hear people in the background packing up their stands.
Yes.
Coming to the end of the day. Well, I've got one final question for you, Louie.
Go for it.
Takeaways.
Aha, my favourite.
Plate or no plate?
So...
you've got an answer.
Right, so there's a rule for this.
Yeah.
If it's separate, you chuck it on plates. So Chinese, I've got some rice here, I've got some chicken in funky sauce here. That all goes on a plate. Pizza, it's in a box. It is basically a big cardboard plate. Fine. So if they're separate, put them on a plate. If they're not, leave it in what it is. I can't think of any other takeaway that is in its own
say like a
siloed
kebab
box. Oh, right. Now, a kebab. Now, a kebab is an interesting one, because my wife is Turkish, love her very much, and what we know about the Turks is they're very generous with their portions.
Yep.
So I'll open up my kebab and I'll be like, oh my goodness, I don't know how this fit in the box, it's going everywhere. So what I do is I put the box on the plate. So it's kind of a little bit of a fusion.
It's called a safety plate. Safety plate.
Yeah, so safety plate all the way for kebabs.
Yeah. Any others? What else could there be?
Indian, obviously separate.
Yeah.
Chuck them in. What other weird and wonderful takeaways have I had? Mexican.
Fish and
takeaway.
chips.
Ah, right. Fish and chips is fish and chips. They give it on paper. What
Yeah.
on earth is that about? Obviously history. Blah 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 blah. But obviously you have to put it on a plate because if you put it on paper and you put it in between your lap, you're just going to get fishy lap and it's all going to go a bit messy.
Gonna grease through.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you need a plate as like a bit of undergirding.
A safety plate.
A
one
safety
might say.
plate, yeah, but for different safety reasons. Yeah.
Whereas, but I wonder. Sometimes you get fish and chips in a cardboard box. Though it's normally by the
You
seaside.
obviously
know,
go to classier places than I do.
maybe, yeah. My local fish and chip shop does it in paper, but then at the office we decant it onto the plates. But, yeah.
I got a fish and chip shop near me that is so retro and old that it's actually come back. So it's not changed its board since the early 90s. And it used to look a bit gross in the 2000s, but now it just looks really cool again.
It's like old school, yeah.
Exactly. It's like, oh, wow, it's got retro. It's like, no, we just never changed it.
Our ones only just started accepting cards. It's like literally like 3 months ago. Like, it's crikey, guys. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Well,
thank you very much for coming.
Thank you for having me. Lovely
nice
to
to
see
see you. Enjoy the rest of your day.
I will do. Thank you.
Right, we've got one more to go. We'll be back shortly.